All our guests who are standing, we request you to quickly take your seats. The Minister has arrived and we are getting him in. So we could quickly have the House in order and then we'll get the show started in the next 5 minutes. A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We request all of you to kindly take your seats. I'm Ritika Jhanji Jagtiani, and it is an absolute honor to extend a very warm welcome to all of you to this very special evening, that is Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. What makes this evening really special is that this is the inaugural edition of this transformative event. So let's get it started with a good round of applause and mark this exciting milestone to begin. Now, as the Indian automotive industry continues its remarkable journey to growth, this platform today highlights the very important aspect of its future, that is green mobility. Now, we all see that India today stands tall as a leader globally when it comes to automotive innovation and is having sustainable technologies. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, our chief guest for this evening, the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India, Shri Nitin Gadkari is here with us. Can you please extend a very warm welcome with a good round of applause, please? A big thank you to Honorable Minister for taking time out of his very busy schedule and being here with us today at Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. A very warm welcome to you, Honorable Minister. We request all of you to quickly settle down as we're ready to take this evening forward. The chief guest is here with us. We're talking about India and what all it's achieving in the automotive industry, and today it stands as a leader globally. And over the past few years, we've seen from homegrown brands to the international to global automakers, everybody coming up with transformative solutions, looking at solving problems, the ever-evolving consumer needs and demands that they're meeting with their transformative solutions. So today, ladies and gentlemen, at this conclave and at these awards, we are celebrating this progress by sparking dialogue and collaboration amongst energy providers, amongst policymakers and industry leaders. We are also accelerating the adoption of electric mobility and sustainable solutions, and of course, honoring the innovators and visionaries who are shaping the very green mobility landscape in the country. This year's theme, ladies and gentlemen, to be noted is Leading India's Green Mobility Drive. And that underscores our very strong commitment not just to technology and manufacturing, but also to infrastructure, which is extremely important to power this transition. When you say infrastructure, we're thinking of electric charging stations, hydrogen fuel stations, CNG advancements, and a whole lot more. So as we gather here, let's celebrate the ideas, let's share the insights, and of course, let's honor the pioneers who are helping us drive towards a cleaner, a greener future. But before we begin, a quick word of gratitude for our sponsors, because without them, this event would not have been possible. So please put your hands together in applause for our very special sponsors for this event. The technology partner, Digit.in, our wellness partner, healthandme.com, education partner, Bennett University, West Outdoor Partner, Bright Outdoor Media Limited, North Outdoor Partner, Heights, Smart Initiative Influencer Partner, Radio City. A big round of applause for these sponsors, please, because without them, this event would not have been a success. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to give this evening a very formal start Please put your hands together as I invite onto this dais to deliver the welcome address the COO and President of Times Network, Mr. Rohit Chadha, to share his thoughts on advancing India's journey towards sustainable mobility and achieving carbon emission targets. Mr. Rohit Chadha.
Good evening, everyone. Honorable Union Minister of Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkariji, leaders of India's automobile industry, innovators, policymakers, and all our distinguished guests, I warmly welcome you to the Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. At Times Network, we are home to some of India's premier digital brands: Times Now, ET Now, Times Now Bharat, Digit, Zoom, Sports Now, Pickleball Now, Health and Me, to name a few, and of course, your very own Times Drive. Each month, we engage with hundreds of millions of viewers across our diverse platforms, including websites, apps, YouTube, and social media. Today marks an exciting milestone as we officially unveil a dedicated digital destination, timesdrive.in, an initiative dedicated to leading conversations on mobility and shaping India's future. Under the leadership of Shri Gadkariji, India has set new global benchmarks in road transport and infrastructure. The Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards aim to spotlight innovations and foster collaborations to accelerate India's green mobility revolution. The inaugural edition, theme Leading India's Green Mobility Drive, centers on the partnerships needed among manufacturers, energy providers, tech innovators, and policymakers to scale sustainable solutions. India has emerged a global leader in the auto sector, with the EV industry experiencing unprecedented growth. As per reports, the Indian EV market is expected to grow at a CAGR of 49% between 2022 and 2030, reaching an annual sales volume of over 17 million units by 2030. Furthermore, India recorded the sale of 1.1 million EVs in 2023 alone, a staggering 150% increase over the previous year, underscoring the rapid shift towards sustainable mobility. Now, none of this progress would have been possible without the exceptional leadership of our chief guest, Shri Nitin Gadkariji. Under his visionary guidance, the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways has spearheaded transformative initiatives. For instance, over 6,000 EV charging stations have been installed under the FAME2 scheme, with a target to install over 20,000 in the coming years. India is championing the use of green hydrogen. Policies incentivizing flex fuel and biofuel vehicles have been introduced. The growth of the EV ecosystem is not just a policy story, but also a consumer-driven revolution. According to Google's 2023 report on EV search trends in India, searches for electric vehicles surged by 110% year on year, with Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities showing the most interest. Additionally, nearly 70% of Indian consumers surveyed in a Deloitte study expressed a preference for EVs over traditional vehicles, citing lower running costs and environmental benefits as key motivators. This wave of interest is amplified by the internet and social media, where millions turn to trusted publishers like Times Drive for insights and authentic reviews, as well as individual content creators for direct user inputs. Digital publishers and social media influencers have become vital advocates for green mobility, simplifying complex topics and making EVs relatable to the masses. That's why tonight, we honor not only the best in EV and alternate fuel vehicles, but also the top influencers and creators. At Times Network, we remain committed to amplifying these efforts and providing a platform to recognize the change makers driving this green revolution. Tonight, as we celebrate these pioneers, let us also commit to accelerating our collective journey towards sustainable mobility. With this, I once again welcome you all and look forward to an evening of exchanging ideas about the future of India's green mobility. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chadha, for setting the tone for this evening. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to give this evening a befitting start with the auspicious lamp lighting ceremony, a ceremony that symbolizes dispelling of darkness and celebrates knowledge and wisdom. To take this forward, I would like to request our chief guest, Shri Nitin Gadkari ji, to please come on stage. And I request Mr. Rohit Chadha, COO and President Times Network, and Mr. Varun Kohli, COO Times Network News Broadcast Business, to kindly accompany him onto the stage for the ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, as this lamp lighting ceremony gets done, it's time for me to introduce you to the trailblazer, to a visionary who has completely revolutionized the infrastructure and transportation landscape of India. He is a passionate advocate of alternative fuels, and under his leadership, India has made strides that it had never made before in transportation and infrastructure. So please put your hands together and welcome onto this dais for a very special address, the Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highways of India, Shri Nitin Gadkari.
Mr. Rohit Chadha, Chief Operating Officer and President of Times Network, Mr. Varun Kohli, Chief Operating Officer at Times Network News, Broadcast and Business, Mr. K. Vijay Kumar, CEO, all respectable dignitaries and dear friends. India is the fastest growing economy in the world. And the dream of our Prime Minister to make Indian economy as third largest economy in the world. The mission is to make Indian economy of $5 trillion and Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's very important that we need to develop sustainable development is basically our goal. And three important things. which are very important as far as the Indian society is concerned. And the three important pillars of the society is one is ethics, economy, ecology and environment. I don't need to talk anything about air pollution in Delhi because you are already enjoying it. It is really a big problem. So to protect ecology and environment, I am actually very guilty conscious that 40% of the air pollution in the country is because of transport ministry. We have the import of fossil fuel of 22 lakh crores every year. And that is one of the important reasons where we are facing the problem of pollution. So today in the transport sector, we need to find out alternative for fossil fuel. So two things which are very important for the country, one is biofuel and alternative fuel. At the same time, the other important problem, which is economic point of view, is very important, that our GDP growth, 14% they contribute from agriculture and alliance industry, 22 to 24% from the manufacturing sector, and 52 to 56% from service sector. And the population belongs to rural, agriculture and tribal India is now 30% migration is there. At the time of 47, it was 90%. Now it comes to 65 to 65%. And this 30% of migration because the reason is our agriculture is not economically viable. We need to develop our economy and good technology on the basis of Jal, Jameen, Jungle and Janwar. And there are two important philosophies which always I remember. One is knowledge. And today knowledge is very important power. The innovation, entrepreneurship, science, technology, research skill and successful practices, we name it as knowledge, and conversion of knowledge into wealth is the future. And the second important philosophy is no material is waste and no person is waste. It is depending upon the appropriate vision of the leadership and appropriate technology that you can convert waste into wealth. Today in Indian scenario, we are facing big problem in agriculture sector, that is surplus of food grains, wheat surplus, rice surplus, corn surplus, and even there are prices which are even lower down as compared with the MSP. So the price of the fertilizers and insecticides day by day is going to increase, and that is to be one of the economic challenge for the country, that how we are going to resolve the problems in the agriculture. So the most important thing, the decision taken by our government is the diversification of agriculture towards energy and power sector. And that is the reason that today we are already in the process of making ethanol economy. I have just coming here in this hotel with using the world first Toyota Innova car on 100% bioethanol, flex fuel. And that there is no pollution from that green fuel. And as far as the average with the petrol is, its comparison is there, the petrol rate is coming 25 rupees per liter. So this is import substitute, cost effective, pollution free and indigenous. So today we are in the process of making ethanol from sugarcane juice. We can make ethanol from C molasses, B molasses. Even we can make ethanol from corn and food grains, rice. And even in Panipat, the Indian Oil has started the project. That is one of my dream project is making ethanol from parali, rice straw. The project is making of 1 lakh liter of ethanol per day, 150 ton of bio-bitumen per day, and 88,000 ton of bio-aviation fuel, sustainable aviation fuel per year. So today, this is waste to wealth. So today, this biofuel economy is in a good position. Already just 2 months before, I got approached to launch the motorcycle of Bajaj. And the Raju was telling me, our Bajaj motorcycle in petrol, the cost is for 1 kilometer is 2 rupees 25 paisa, and cost for the CNG is 1 rupees. So now day by day, CNG car, motorcycles, scooters, commercial vehicles are very popular. Today, in Punjab, Haryana and Western UP and some part of Karnataka and Maharashtra, we have 400 projects in the process where they are making bio-CNG from biomass, particularly parali, rice straw. You know the problem of burning of parali, we are facing pollution problem in Delhi. So now in Panipat they are purchasing parali by 2,500 rupees per ton. Creating value in the West is very important. And now there are 400 projects, out of which 60 projects are already completed. As a transport minister, my ministry has taken a decision for Euro 6 emission norms. The all tractor manufacturing companies owner come to me and requesting me that don't do it because this is going to increase the cost of tractor by 1 lakh rupees. I give them solution that you should immediately go for electric, ethanol, methanol, bio-CNG for tractor. Then I will withdraw that. If you are not going to do it, I am going to implement that. And today I am happy that Mahindra and Mahindra is making tractor on CNG. Then electric tractor. 2 days before in Nagpur, we have a big agro convention, Agro Vision. 2 lakhs farmers participated. And the exhibition, there was a tractor on CNG, tractor on LNG also, and a tractor on electric. The new startup in Meerut, they are making the tractor on electric. And 50 horsepower tractor cost is 13.50 lot of companies are in the process of launching electric tractor. And because of this CNG, now this is to be a very important thing that making CNG from biomass, it is also going to be popular. And we can convert our tractor into CNG. That will be the really going to reduce the pollution, and import point of view, that will be the great saving. So this biofuel economy is very important. And the second option is electric. I remember when as I was 15 or 14, 15, in every conference like this, people are asking me the question about electric car, electric scooter, and if the battery is down, then how it can be possible to run the car. No one is going to ask. Because it's popular and it's 200% increase in it. Today we have electric car, electric scooter, electric motorcycle in this hotel. Just 1 month before I launched electric motorcycle from, I not remember the name of the company, but a very beautiful model costing only 88,000 rupees. So in the same platform here. So today the electric scooter, electric motorcycle is very popular. And 400 startup, they have already started the manufacturing of electric scooter. Generally, the big company are making electric scooter for the battery for 160 kilometer or 140 kilometer. And the small people are making the scooter for 60 kilometer battery only they are making. That's where the cost is less. At the time when we start this electricity, lithium-ion battery, the cost was $150 per kilowatt per hour. And today, it is 110, and some of the people are telling me now it comes to 100 rupees, $100, means it equivalent to cost of the petrol and diesel. Just today, we have just started first pilot project in Nagpur, And the bus is from actually the technology is from Skoda, also one of the European company has got that technology. And from Siemens and other one company, Hitachi, they have the technology for the charger. The 135 people capacity, the bus will come within a half minute, bus will charge for 40 kilometers, again next stop, bus will stop there. So this is going to change the total economics. To running electric bus per kilometer cost is coming 65 rupees per kilometer. And in Mumbai, the best is running diesel buses, the cost is coming 115 rupees per kilometer. So on electric as a fuel, we can save the cost. So many of the companies are now in the process of making electric trucks. So today, the things are moving very fast. And for the reason, economic point of view, at least if we can reduce this import, at least of 10 lakh crore, and this 10 lakh crore going to Indian economy to create a lot of jobs. Today, it is really a very, very fantastic situation, economic situation as far as automobile industry is concerned. The industry is related with my ministry. When I taken charge as a minister, our automobile industry's number was 7. Now just 4 months before, we surpassed Japan and now our number is 3rd. So our size of the industry is 22 lakh crore. And the second number is China is 47 lakh crore. And first is USA, that is 78 lakh crores. Our mission and dream is to make Indian automobile industry number 1 in the world in 5 years. And now this is the industry which is the most important industry as far as Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned. We have got maximum export from this industry. This is the industry which is giving maximum GST to the state and central government. And this is the industry which is up till now creates 4 crore 50 lakhs jobs. So therefore, by making ethanol, methanol, biodiesel, bio-LNG, electric and hydrogen, they are the fuel for the future. I have got the car on hydrogen and name of the car is Mirai. Mirai is a Japanese word. The car is from Toyota and that the car is on hydrogen and hydrogen is a fuel for the future. The futuristic planning and vision for the automobile industry is very important because we want to make Indian automobile industry number 1 in the world and there is a huge potential for that. So today the pollution is big concern. For that reason, we have to reduce the pollution and without reducing the import of fossil fuel, we cannot going to resolve the problem of air pollution. And the most important thing is that waste to wealth, from municipal waste, we can convert waste to wealth. In Delhi, we are already making a big road from that Panipat, that UR2 road, coming to Dwarka Express Highway. The cost of the road is 10,000 crore. We have used municipal waste, segregated municipal waste on, I'm not remembering the name of the Ghazipur. The west mountain is there. I don't know too much about Delhi. So 7-meter height is reduced. We have already used the municipal waste in Mumbai-Delhi Express Highway, in Ahmedabad-Dolero Express Highway, and everywhere now we are using municipal waste. We are segregating the municipal waste from plastic, glass, metal and organic waste, taking it to the biodigester, making methane from it, and from methane we can make bio-CNG or even hydrogen. So today, lot of municipal corporations has got huge potential for making hydrogen and CNG. In my own city in Nagpur, from last 8 to 9 years, we are selling our sewage water to government of Maharashtra and we are getting 300 crore rupees per year as a royalty from selling of sewage water. Now today, we have just started making bio-CNG, 28 ton of bio-CNG from municipal waste, segregated. The company is from Netherlands. It's on final level. So the idea is to running all municipal corporation vehicles and buses and trucks on CNG. So that is save money to earn money. So there is a huge potential because the cost economics is there. Anywhere you are using alternative fuel or biofuel, the saving is very high. सो कोई मेहरबानी नहीं है, ग्रीन बनना के में फायदा है. So everyone is going to use it, electric. Now the diesel tractor, we are spending 3,50,000 rupees of diesel in place of that. Electric cost is 60,000. Now suppose if you have an electric scooter, if suppose you are using 10,000 rupees per month for the petrol, then for electric it is 1,200 rupees. So it is import substitute, cost effective, pollution free and indigenous. At the same time, it is going to helpful for the agriculture, rural and tribal India to increase the income for the farmers and to increase the growth rate in the rural area, agriculture sector. So today it is really a very important thing that this green economy approach is going to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat. And it's very important, it's one of the important industry which is giving maximum revenue as a part of GST, creating maximum employment and creating maximum export. You take it from me, though I am a politician, please believe me, because whatever I am talking, it is 101% going to prove. I have this track record. So within 5 years, you please see that when I got up to launch Mercedes Electric in Pune, the chairman of the Mercedes, World Mercedes company was telling me, now we have decided to make only electric Mercedes. So this is the time that India will be the #1 manufacturer as far as alternative fuel and green fuel is concerned, and we will have lot of export from India, except 1 or 2, all important automobile brands are present in India, and their idea is now to have a big manufacturing plant in India and making export from India. That is their vision. So today, not only you are making green India, but we are making the Indian economy strong. So I'm really happy that you are thinking on the line about this green drive, and is very important for the country, for the development of our country, for the agriculture, rural and tribal sector. And at the same time, it is going to increase our export and reduce our import is also equally important for Indian economy. Once again, I am giving my thanks to taking initiative for this green drive by Times Group. It's a very, very important for the country. It is the future of our country. And for your initiative, I am giving my special thanks to Times Group and all the concerning people. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you so much, Honourable Minister, for sharing your visionary insights and for always inspiring us with your commitment to a greener and more connected India. Thank you very much. And now, we've arrived at the most awaited moment of this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening is very special because it also marks the official launch of the website of Times Drive, your one-stop destination for all things automotive in India. And for this moment to be taken forward, we have Shri Nitin Gadkariji already with us on stage. I request Mr. Rohit Chadda to please join us, and let's get this started. It's going to be a platform which will serve as a hub for all the news, reviews, trends and updates covering everything from cutting-edge innovations to green mobility and advancements in the Indian automotive industry. We have the remote in the hands of the Honourable Minister. So, Mr. Chadda, I'll give you a count from 3, 2, 1, and then with the press of button, we launch the website. So there we go, 3, 2, 1.
Do you find yourself constantly chasing the latest trends in the auto world? Presenting timesdrive.in, your ultimate pit stop for everything you need to fuel your passion for automobiles. Times Drive brings you closer to the pulse of the automotive industry. Whether you're following the latest news, seeking detailed reviews, or comparing the best deals, we provide insights that matter. From cutting-edge electric vehicles to the hottest new launches, timesdrive.in is your trusted source for reliable and comprehensive information, making your journey seamless and informed. We aim to empower enthusiasts and buyers alike, keeping you ahead of the curve in a world that's always on the move. As the world shifts gears towards sustainability, Times Drive takes a bold step forward with Times Drive Green, our commitment to cleaner and smarter mobility. This initiative focuses on electric vehicles, hybrids, and next-generation fuels like green hydrogen. With Times Drive Green, we're paving the way for a sustainable future, one vehicle at a time. Whether it's exclusive insights, user-friendly guides, or trend analysis, this platform connects you with the latest innovations driving the green revolution. But that's not all. TimesDrive.in enhances your experience with its AI-powered smart assistant. Planning a road trip? Need real-time updates on toll prices and road conditions? Our AI-powered smart assistant has you covered, offering highway assistance that's just a message away. It even lets you share your live location with family or friends, making your travel safer and more convenient. Searching for your next vehicle? Just ask. The AI-powered smart assistant curates recommendations based on your preferences, whether it's budget, features, or style. It's your dedicated assistant, guiding you from exploration to purchase with ease. TimesDrive.in redefines how you engage with the automotive world. From staying updated to choosing the right vehicle and embracing green technology, it's built to meet every need. The future of mobility is here, and TimesDrive.in is leading the way, fueling passion, innovation, and sustainability. Discover what's next today.
There you have TimesDrive.in, an indispensable resource for automobile enthusiasts and industry professionals alike. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for us to begin our first set of awards. Let's take this evening forward. I request Shri Gadkari ji and Mr. Chadha to kindly come in the center of the stage as we're ready to get these awards kick-started with the very first award of the evening. Please keep your applause generous as we announce the EV CEO of the Year. And the winner is K. Vijay Kumar, Greaves Electric Mobility. Mr. Vijay Kumar is a visionary leader in the electric mobility space and an automotive veteran with 30-plus years of experience, currently serving as the CEO and Executive Director of Greaves Electric Mobility, part of the 165-year-old Greaves legacy. He's had a significant impact across the EVO ecosystem. Many congratulations to you, Mr. Kumar. Moving on to the next one. The next category is Fastest Growing EV Brand of the Year, and the award goes to Ampere Nexus. We have Mr. Siddhant Bora, Lead Marketing, Greaves Electric Mobility, here to receive the award. And the next one, ladies and gentlemen, the category is Business Impact Through Social Media. And this one goes out to Apollo Tires. We have Tarun Mangal, Head Digital Marketing at Apollo Tires, and Remuzi Cruz, Head Marketing Community and Sports here to receive the award. And the fourth award for this evening is Most Innovative EV Technology, and the winner is MG Bus. Many, many congratulations, MG Bus, for bagging Most Innovative EV Technology Award at Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. And this one's backed by Bajaj Alliance General Insurance. We have Subhashish Mazumdar, President and Head Motor Distribution at Bajaj Alliance General Insurance, here to receive the award. Many, many congratulations. And the next one luxury EV SUV of the year. And Gadkari ji did mention the brand while he was making a speech. This goes out to Mercedes EQS 580. Many congratulations to you. Shri Gadkari ji, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Just a small gesture of gratitude from our side. Mr. Chadha, I request you to present a small token of appreciation to the Minister. Thank you, Honourable Minister, once again for sparing time from your very busy schedule for Times Green Conclave and Awards 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, a huge round of applause, and let's see the Minister off. He has other commitments to attend to, but we are so very thankful for his presence, adding immense value to this evening. We request all our guests to quickly settle down so that we can take this evening forward. As we move forward into this transformative evening, it's time for one of the most anticipated segments. It's time for the Times Drive Green Conclave Awards 2024's first panel discussion that promises to offer invaluable insights and ignite meaningful conversations around new age mobility, innovations, and future trends. The topic for today's discussion, ladies and gentlemen, is fueling the future from EVs to hydrogen and hybrid solutions. Couldn't be more timely or critical. As the world accelerates towards sustainable mobility, India is positioning itself as a global leader when it comes to innovation, embracing groundbreaking technologies such as EVs, hydrogen fuel cells, and hybrid solutions. We request all our guests to quickly settle down before we invite our panelists onto the stage to take the session forward. Can we quickly have the house in order, please, before we get started officially with the session? Talking of these innovations forward, ladies and gentlemen, they're not just key to reducing our carbon footprint, but also are paving a way to shape the future of transportation. It gives me immense pleasure to invite our very esteemed panelists for the session. We'll just wait for a minute for the crew to quickly set up the stage for the panel, and then we'll invite them over. Please put your hands together as I invite a very esteemed panelist for the very first session of this evening, starting with Pritesh Singh, Specialist CASE and Alternate Power Trains, Nomura Research Institute Consulting and Solutions India. Can you welcome them with a round of applause, please? Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for joining us this evening. Please keep your applause going as we invite our next panelist for the session, Maxon Lewis, founder and CEO, Magenta Mobility. Thank you, Mr. Lewis, for joining us. Our next panelist for this session is Rama Shankar Pandey, Social Defense Fellow, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. Thank you, Mr. Pandey, for being here with us. And keep the applause going as I invite Madhumita Agrawal, CEO and founder of Oben Electric. We're looking forward to a very engaging discussion, and we're fortunate to have with us an expert moderator. Let's welcome Manas Tiwari, technology editor, Times Network, whose extensive knowledge and dynamic approach will steer this dialogue forward. Over to you, Manas Tiwari.
हेलो हेलो क्या हो गया भाई पहला ही सेशन है अभी तो ठंडा नहीं पड़ना है इतना अभी 2 सेशन और है so can I have a little more energy in the room guys a good round of applause for all our panelists yeah that's more like it see when I was preparing for this panel I was a little nervous that I should bring in the Delhi pollution into the conversation or not but I think I should thank Nitin ji because he himself did that so keeping that in mind and what we saw in Delhi over the last couple of weeks I want to, sort of, I think this is the perfect time, the most ideal time to revisit this conversation around alternative fuel sources. We'll try our best to make this as interesting as possible over the next half an hour. And to begin this and to set the stage, set the direction for this conversation over the next half an hour, my first question for all of you is, can you take us through some of, the last decade in mobility? In terms of what have been the biggest game changers for you and why? 30 seconds take from all of you. So, starting with you.
I think in last 1 decade, what I can say is the choices and challenges which have emerged around the mobility, especially the alternate powertrains. So, India is emerging and starting its journey towards different alternate powertrains. So, it's not only pure electric, as Gadkari ji also talked, but emerging choices around different powertrains, including electric, hybrid, hydrogen, CNG, ethanol, methanol, flex fuel, etc. And I think that has been one of the fascinating things which I am tracking on.
Maxim.
Right. I'll summarize the last, not the decade, but the last couple of years in the following 4 questions. 2018, the question was, what is an EV? A couple of years later, we were talking about why should I even consider an EV? Today when we speak, we say, why not an EV? I'm waiting for the time when we are going to ask, what is an ICE engine? So I think this transition that has happened from what to our awareness to now a buying decision, and now it's at leveling out with an ICE engine. I think that's one of the biggest things that has happened in the last, not even a decade, half a decade really, 5, 6, 7 years really speaking. So that's a big transition for me.
Absolutely, sir.
Yeah, so I think for me, if you remember the biggest change, 1 year before 2018, when the minister was talking about diesel and petrol with the famous speech in Siam Conclave, there was this 2 sides to this story. We were preparing for Bharat Stage 6 at that point of time. So there was a question mark, but today with whatever we see, alternate fuels and sustainability and really facing the sustainability problem, Delhi being on the top on the news. So one green thing I will say, the mindset has changed. Of course, we have not arrived. Lot to do, but at least the mindset, the collaboration between government and the industry is never this strong. But we see today, like you just heard, that you can believe the politicians. Yes, you can believe, at least in the auto sector, whatever AMP we made, whatever FAME policy we have made, there's a lot of collaboration. So that is one major change. But the second thing which I'm not particularly happy, and many of us for that matter, the another green thing which would have happened using the same technology of AI and connectivity and all the electronics in the vehicle is saving people on roads. Millions of us drive on roads, and roughly 461 plus families does not get back their people home day after day. And nothing has changed there. Rather, what you see, the latest report, it's actually on the increase. So one way on the sustainability, we have a big debate and issue. It's on our drawing room now. Everybody talks. Rather than speed and power, we are talking about powertrain. But at the same time, Indians dying on road is not a good story for our industry. And this is something where I feel we have not arrived. We have not even started. The mindset has not changed. We still believe a road crash is like a bad luck, not like a science with the same ADAS, with the same autonomous driving, all this connected technology we can do. So I will say in summary, decade, one good thing achieved is the mindset on the powertrain, multi-fuel, but something we have not achieved at all is our dedication commitments towards safety.
So good evening, everyone. I think we are talking about mobility and automotive, which is very complex industry and tough industry. I think what in this decade, what has happened is we are seeing a very bold Bharat, I would say, rather, a very courageous Bharat, new OEMs coming, taking up the tough challenges, trying to solve. I think that's what has changed. Coming up and, not just the legacy players, but there are new players, young players who are coming and taking these tough problem statements to solve. And I think that is the change, or you just say the mindset change has happened. We have just got started, right? I think there are many problems, which is also opportunity. But first thing, what needs to, you take up that challenge. I think that's the first step we have already taken, and I think I see a bold, courageous Bharat, which is, moving towards design, development and manufacturing anyways we were doing, but designing, and which brings a lot of value. I think that's what has happened to the new Bharat. Yeah.
I see a lot of positivity there, so it's good to have.
Absolutely.
Now, Pritesh, you interestingly mentioned how, people are even going beyond EVs now and adopting, hybrid solutions. And sir talked about the consumer mindset. I want to sort of club both these two and ask you, how has the consumer mindset, especially in India, sort of changed to adapt EVs and hybrid solutions?
Okay, I think very relevant question, Mr. Tiwari. When we talk about consumer, ultimately everything revolves. Consumer is at the center of the decision making. So when any consumer decides to buy a car, if you do a study and post, let's say, on Times Drive in a survey and ask 10 questions, everybody is going to tick on, environmental reasons are one of the reasons why they choose any alternate powertrains, including EVs. But I'm telling you, it's not the real reason. People not that much care about environment, let me say that. So whenever we do studies, definitely we get such responses, but we have ways to, rule out and find out accurately what they are looking for. It's very, very simple. Consumer wants what they have been or much better what they have been experiencing till now. So if I talk about electric vehicles, consumer wants electric vehicle which is at least at par the ICE cars. That is why when automotive OEMs started introducing electric cars in India, many of them went ahead and thought that low-end solutions are going to work in India, but many of them failed, and eventually everybody is trying to bring similar product categories or much better experience and the solutions. So consumer definitely wants at least solutions or the products which are at par to what they have been experiencing. Now in terms of purely electric car, if I want to have an electric car and drive that smoothly, I definitely want to have it at the comparable prices, which we are not getting, but that's fine. We do the TCO calculations. Everybody is smart enough to do that and finally calculate within 5 years or 8 years of warranty period how much I'm going to run and what kind of benefit I'm going to get out of it. But at the same time, first set of consumers in India for electric vehicles are fine with doing the home charging. But as you move on and keep adding the second and the third level of the consumer sets, I think we need more and more charging infrastructure. As a consumer, nobody wants to take the kind of, the challenges, let's say the payment challenges, identification of the charging infrastructure, reliability of the charging infrastructure, safety, security. I think that hurdles needs to be resolved. That is one of the reasons why in passenger car, personal mobility, electrification growth is still at the 2% level. And we talk about 30-40% penetration. So that's my take on it.
Good that you mentioned all those challenges, because that's a perfect segue to my next question, which is to you, sir.
Yeah, but I'll just add what he just said. I think it's true that consumer behavior, if you study, and we did some study when I was CEO for Tata Green Battery, actually, can there be a premium on sustainability? Now, this, till date, every survey is negative. Consumers are not ready to pay 2 rupees more, 5 rupees more, 10 rupees more for sustainability. Of course, they want, it's a desire, it's a wish, given that the price remains the same. or maybe lower. So even if you are not able to understand the whole cost breakdown, but we are very good in bargaining it, and this is a big impediment, I think a big challenge. And this is true with any of these topics which is good for our country, be it from the pollution emission side or be it from the safety side. That they also, when I was MD for Hella, I could clearly see that every customer was asking me for a German product, which is that kind of standard, but the price remains the Indian price. So this...
Saste mein chahiye thoda sa. I like how quickly we have come from all that positivity to, actually bringing up all these challenges, and which is what I was coming to as well with you, sir. That, what are you mentioned one thing is, of course, the price, which I'll again discuss in detail, but what are the other challenges in terms of EV adoption, do you think? Anyone of you can take it, yeah.
So from the EV adoption, I think, like rightly said, you can say green, but green till the time it is not there on the balance sheet, it doesn't show positive in terms of profits. Everything is more of an innovation. It's a pilot, I would put it that way. So let me answer this question. What are the challenges? I think first thing we need to understand that when we talk about green mobility or EV, it's important to dissect the segments. Because every time we talk about an EV, we do not register that vehicle till the time it's a four-wheeler passenger vehicle in which we can sit in. But the transition has already happened. As on date, in India today, 51% of all the three-wheeler cargo sold in India are electric already. Right? But what's happening is passenger segment is something which is slightly later. In the two-wheeler, of course, there's a lot of transition already which has happened. Buses, in fact, subsidized by the government into the government mandates, already all the new buses, public buses, are already electric. Now, where exactly is the issue? The issues have also changed. The challenges have also changed. I think 4 years back, if we're talking, the first question was, "Hum log charging kahan karenge?" Right? Now we have more charging. Even for the passenger segment, if you were to look at actually the spread and utilization, there's enough chargers on the highways. Those networks are there. The challenge now is, where can I provide charging at the place that I work and stay? So there the challenges are not about the infrastructure, the challenges are about the provisions and the government laws to enable that. If you were to look at another point, is the quality. If you look at the four-wheelers, etc., buses, I think there's enough progress that has happened. But still today, what makes news today in the electric vehicle is the lack of quality, and we know enough about it already. So I think there's enough and plenty work that needs to remain over there. And last but not the least, I call it the revolution that is there for India available, is the EV revolution. But that can only happen if we have R&D in India and lesser of putting things together, copy-pasting, but a lot of R&D and a lot of battery-related technologies happening in India. I think so. Challenges come with an opportunity. I think that's one of the challenges. I still feel India has a long way to go before we start to really invest into building it for the future and not for the yesterday.
Okay. But Madhumita, how do we make it affordable? मतलब सस्ता कैसे करें? जो हमारी पहले भी बात हो रही थी. Because you see, I'll tell you what. Yesterday, for example, there was a major car maker which launched a couple of electric cars. Now the social media more affordable. How do we address the range anxiety issues?
So I think, this consumer mindset, what consumer is looking at. One is there is a change. Consumer is now investing in design. They want good looking product. Reliability is undebatable. So it has to be reliable. It has to be, sturdy, right? Especially for India. These are two things like reliable chahiye, but design is something what the change in consumer. Now it comes how you fence, it was R&D, it is about vertical integration, it is about, I think it is about R&D, it is about vertical integration, it is about investing in R&D to give a product which suits Indian consumer. You cannot say something bringing from outside will right away get into the system. That will have some hiccups. It will give you a, initial sprint.
Initial
but
push, it will give you.
Push, that's fine. But sustain, how do you sustain? Because this consumer is very, very smart. When it comes to bargaining, it doesn't negotiate on any of the features. It negotiates on price. How do you bring that price down? Unless until you cook it inside, in your factory, if you don't build it, you cannot bring that price down. And if you do that plug and play thing, you will fail. Because that's what we are seeing right now, right? The problem, what people are,
And if
the OEMs which are solving that. So I think it's an entire package which you have give to the consumer, and that package will only will come with technology, only will come with your R&D in-house capability. I think that's the new story of India, and that's happening. You are seeing it takes time. Initially there was a lot of hue and cry in the industry, but the dust has settled. Let me put it that way. The dust has settled. Now you see the players who are there.
It's getting a little mature. Right.
Yes,
And if I have to
yes.
address, I can be a little cheeky with your reliability comment. I would say your vehicle should make it back home and not to a social media post. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something. I'll take a minute, please allow me. She really talked about that consumer is not ready to compromise. They want everything. And Madhumita also talked about how we can address these challenges. Probably the technology is going to address this challenge. Now, addressing this technology challenge is the biggest challenge. Product introductions from OEM has to be at par at least with what you have in ICE vehicle. That is what is minimum acceptance level. Government wants energy security, manufacturing import dependence, carbon emissions, and the employment generation. There are two facets about it. Now let us look at the technology. How Indian OEMs and Indian traditional component manufacturing industry in India has been operating is building technology from outside. When it comes to newer technologies, for example, electrification, we think that we have the land and the money power, and we can bring the technology. Nobody is going to give you the technology, especially when it comes to the batteries, motors, inverters, converters, those kind of things. You can rely on China and keep thinking about that India is going to really develop the R&D and bring this technology. It takes time, more than 2 decades, not even 1 decade. So bringing the technology is really, really a very challenging task. Let's take the look, right, on the supply chain side. Batteries, despite talks started around 2012 with National Electric Mobility Mission Plan, followed by FAME 1, FAME 2, National PME Drive, etc. With the PLI scheme also, India only has, let's say, 15 to 20% localized content if I talk about direct and indirect localization for batteries. Motors you forget about. If you deep dive into the, the copper coils, the magnets, the MG cores, all those kind of things are still heavily dependent on imports. So if India wants to have its own capability around R&D and then kind of bring that into the technology, so at par components, Indianized, Atmanirbhar Bharat products, I think are still going to take a lot of time. So that is how we can say that probably pure electrification, we should not expect within 5 to 10 years.
But I think we have started, right? So we have started. So it will take time, but you have to take the first step. So I think that's
100%, 100%.
I think now we need to
that is
convert
why-
that
gloomy. Yes,
steps into strides, maybe.
Yes, I'm not that gloomy that it will take that. See, there's another route to this which we can take. If you look at, we can do it all ourselves. There is one variation of the strategy. Another can be deep partnerships. If you please understand the supply chain, you have a large pool of technology with the vehicle component suppliers. I basically represent ACMA, which is Auto Component Manufacturing Association. If just 2 things done, we need to be on the drawing board early enough, and we also need to be directly talking to what consumer needs. If we just bridge this two, there is a possibility of cost innovation. I'm just talking about not time to shortcut, but cost innovation, which is need of the hour, but deep partnership needed, which means again democratizing the power of developing the platform, which taken ACMA and SIAM members together should be possible in shorter time period.
I 100% agree, sir. The partnership is the only way forward.
Maxon, you briefly spoke about how we need to look beyond consumer vehicles. So, from you, I want to understand, how do mobility innovations tie into broader energy storage and management systems.
Correct. So this is my definition when we talk about EV. Typically, green for us is EV, and for most people, it stands for electric vehicles. But I would recontextualize it. I would call it environmental friendly vehicles, right? So that is going to be the definition of EV going ahead. Now, when you look at the EV construct, we see only the vehicle on the road and the battery, but there's a lot of back end to it. So till such time you do not declutter or clean up the back end part of it, the generation side of it, it is only moving the pollution problem from the tailpipe to the chimney stack of the power plant. So now there's a lot of value chain, and I just want to contextualize this again by saying, from the horse cart to a petrol or diesel engine, we have given them 150 years, right? That is how the transition has happened. For us, expecting in the next 5 years, okay, everything will become EV, that is also a transition. So the first transition is the vehicle on the road, the technology in the vehicle, but there's a lot of back end. For example, I'll just give you 2-3 elements of it. First of all, is we're talking about green access or open access for providing solar-based charging. And it started in 2018 from the government of India. There is also something called the BESS, Battery Energy Storage Systems, which can be used in the charging infrastructure. Now, where do these batteries come? You don't need newer batteries. The same batteries which is there in the vehicle can be repurposed. Now, I'm not saying 100% of it, but those angles are already being worked on. The pilots are already in progress, just that they have not reached the scale that we start to see. So when we look at a transition in mobility, let's stop about talking about only what is on the road, but all the way back into it. Now, there's another very important point on EVs or new vehicles that we say. Every electric vehicle is actually a mobile phone with wheels and a steering. And there's an enormous amount of data that is flowing. My biggest problem today is the amount of data I'm generating, not the pollution that's not there. And what we do with that data and how to optimize our operations, how to optimize route planning, signaling systems, there's a huge element of optimization waiting for us to happen. So what is happening in the social media today, like suddenly from television we have moved to mobile phones and even smaller, I believe the next 10-15 years is going to be these kind of data-driven optimization that's still yet we are even waiting to uncover really. That's my view of the entire ecosystem of sustainable mobility.
Yeah, I think this data point also which you brought up, this also will eventually help us to make the not just customer experience better, but also improve the vehicle. I think that is also a way which will
I think,
move
sir,
forward.
do you agree or do you disagree? We're nodding in disagreement.
I think for me, again, this data has to pool into a collaborative platform. We must come, if cost innovation has to happen, the only way is partnership. I know there can be differentiation strategy for each OEMs, but the time has come for the larger purpose, which is cost innovation and safety. We must give this data lake pool to our engineers to run the AI engine to come up with modular stuff. These modular stuff can be the starting version, which can be, you can call it free, and then you build your differentiation, whatever you want to do. But in this fight, let's not, again, a lot of time will be lost. At least in the area of safety, I feel very pained when I don't see this collaboration.
Okay, so now before I move towards the policy part of things, one last question to Pritesh to settle it all for all of us. What do you think will be the most dominant fuel over the next 10 years? Will it be EVs? Will it be hydrogen? Or are we still stuck with petrol and diesel?
I mean, it's a great question, and answering this is also a little challenging, but I'll go.
तभी आपसे पूछा है मैंने.
I'll go part trend wise. So like, let's say ethanol 20% blending with ethanol 20% by 2025 is achievable, and with that it also poses a challenge for flex fuels, the E85 or whatever E8, E100 India adopts. So that will be happening in few pockets. Let's say some parts of Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, and Maharashtra. So I think that's really going to be few percentage of the only penetration. Electric mobility is going to be one of the dominant powertrains, together with hybrids, because obviously eventually India wants and India should have pure electric vehicles. But I think because consumer adoption towards hybrids, even if they are more costly, is happening in a very organic way. So hybrids are also going to find definitely a good amount of space, and hydrogen around I think 2035 we are going to see applications around commercial vehicles. If you want me to put some percentage, I think for electrification, what government targets is 30%. We are going to be lesser than that for passenger cars. In two-wheeler and three-wheeler, definitely much more than that.
But Maxon, do you think this transition through hybrid solutions sort of makes the transition slower?
Yeah, in fact, the hybrid is an intermediate solution because the last solution is not electric and beyond. And to the answer to your question is, if we get stuck in saying that, okay, electric vehicle is the solution, then we are exactly operating like the ICE vehicle manufacturers 10 years ago, saying EV kabhi banna hi nahi hai. In the same way, I would believe that from EV, there are going ahead. But what is going to happen is the transitions are going to be much faster. The learning cycle is a lot faster, and hence adopting something and dropping is going to be faster, which also makes things difficult for looking at it from a very long-term perspective. And you're seeing that in the OEM's decisions nowadays. So what I want to open up to the fact that these transitions, allow them to happen. There will be some which will succeed and fail. But for me, intermediate transitions are something we should let go of. Hybrid is something, of course, the Honorable Minister did mention about it. But those are transition steps. In the same way, from EV to battery systems, etc., we should be looking at. But except just one point I want to make around the next set of fuel systems that are going to come. There's a lot of learning that we have learned from what has happened in the EV space. Not only from a vehicle, but from the infrastructure, from policy making. When the next transition happens, be it hydrogen or anyone, I think this learning is going to add into making the adoption cycle a lot shorter. So transition, good that it's happening, but it will only help us in the near future.
Enough time for one last set of questions to both of you. So Madhumita, how do you think the industry and government can work together to bring some of these solutions to the people?
I think the government subsidies has done some wonders, and plus minus both. And government initiatives, I think more on the ground level we need to have. When I say ground level, when I talk about R&D, it should be more ground level, not just desk and table. I keep telling this in a forum. We should have more, hardware, proper hardware incubators, which is at the school level or college level, where kids are kind of put into that workstation, not just desk and chair, and that is what hardware incubators so-called are called in India, and there are very few. I think that's one at the ground level where the government can start having more impact. That is one. And then definitely on the OEM side, this is a forum to say definitely on the GST, which is a ask that OEMs have, that on the GST issue. I think that's one way. Subsidies, yes. Subsidies is not something on which you can build a business. It will not stay forever. So I think OEMs have to start thinking how to build a business without a subsidy. So that's my last point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Rama sir, how do we take some of these solutions to the rural parts or rural regions of India?
Yeah, so I think, right question. I think you did not get the full answer from what will happen in which year. And that is precisely a very big problem. I'm not talking just for discussion, but representing the auto component industry. For us, the biggest issue is where do we invest now? How this is going to carve out? What is the return on investment for us? And the whole automotive industry is not only vehicle manufacture as one pillar. You have the back end, which is all our supply chain, and then you have the front end, which is all the repair and the circular economy coming in. Now we must think about them as well. And when you talk about rural, look at a place where you can't repair a battery, you can't repair a BMS, and we have to see. Look at just the auto, the e-rickshaw whole vertical. We just came up, no policy, nothing. I think today the largest community which just came on its own.
Is it good?
See, this is where you have to ask what the customer needs. A person who was doing cycle by foot, if he's getting a convenience, it happened because of consumer pull. It did not happen because somebody pushed it. So how do we then support him from that to a roadmap of coming to perfect? Nothing perfect happened on day one. So when we are looking at giving them a perfect product, of course the cost will also happen. So whether it is about rural, whether it was all the stakeholders, the idea is how can we take care of all these stakeholders? And there my advice in a small way will be that we cannot leave it to just like a, whatever happens we will see, but let us together come and design it properly. So if there is an investment, can we make the investment go into 3-4 purpose of the consumer. So if the connectivity is a technology, it can solve a EV problem with a reliability of EV, but at the same time, it can also support you for a driver behavior analysis. It can support you in the insurance sector. So how can we together come and make more use cases for the same technology so the investment from us as a component supplier work? This is need of the hour. If we do that, we'll be the winner, as India is not on a high, affordable, we don't have that much public investment to be done. This has to happen now.
Absolutely. That's what the end goal is. I think that's our time as well. All of you were wonderful here. Thank you so much for your time. Guys, can we end this the same energy, the way we started it? A huge round of applause for everyone. Thank you.
A big thank you to all the panelists for sharing their perspectives on this very critical topic. And thank you, Manas, for bringing the best out of the panel. I request the panelists to kindly stay with us on the stage. And I request Mr. Chadda to please come and present a small token of appreciation to all the panelists. Thank you to all the panelists once again, and thank you, Mr. Chadda, for doing the honors. Now, before we move on, we would like to thank our partners once again for helping us make this event a success, starting with our technology partner, Digit.in, our wellness partner, healthandme.com, education partner, Bennett University, West Outdoor partner, Bright Outdoor Media Limited, North Outdoor partner, Heights, and Smart Initiative influencer partner, Radio City. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to move on to another crucial conversation of this evening. The next session is on a very important topic, which is about policy and financial incentives for green mobility, paving the way, regulatory and financial roadmaps. Now, as we stand at the cusp of a transportation revolution, policies and financial incentives play a pivotal role in accelerating the adoption of green mobility solutions. From regulatory frameworks that set the foundation to financial roadmaps that encourage innovation and adoption, this dialogue will explore how India can drive its green mobility ambitions forward. Please join me as I welcome our very esteemed panelists onto the stage, starting with the CEO and founder of 4C Advisors Private Limited, Randhir Singh. Thank you, Mr. Singh, for joining us. Looking forward to hearing your perspectives. We're also being joined by Akshay Kashyap, Vice President, Society of Manufacturers of Electric Vehicles. Very glad to have with us FADA State Chairperson Delhi, Ajay Agarwal. Please keep the applause going as I invite onto the stage the manager, Nomura Research Institute, Consulting and Solutions, Mohit Sharma. And to steer this discussion forward, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to welcome onto the stage Prashant Singh, editor of etnow.in, whose deep understanding of the sector ensures we'll have a stimulating conversation ahead. Over to you. Over to you, Prashant.
Sorry for the glitch. So, as Manas said, my colleague, that energy should not come down. Claps, please. So, since we are discussing the policy and financial roadmap, so let's start with a scheme that earned a lot of fame for different reasons. I'm talking about FAME India scheme. So we had FAME 1, we had FAME 2, now PM E-Drive is there. So what is your single biggest learning from these two legs of FAME that you think that in future, whenever the think tank sits and discusses the policy and roadmap in terms of financial incentives, other boost, should be ideally there in future?
Thanks, Prashant. And when you talk about the FAME, I am very closely associated because I was the one who remodeled the FAME 2 when I was in Niti. With the changing times and the adoption, how it is changing, I think the policy, the PME drive which has come out and the type of segments and incentives which has been built in, which are of course lower than what FAME 2 and or the EMPS offers. But I think it needs to be more progressive in the future because when we talk about the mobility now and also the transition to the greener mobility, we need to also consider the segments like electric bicycle, which is something totally left out. And if you see all across the world, there was a recent survey in 10 biggest cities across the world, and the adoption of that one is very high. Also seeing the...
just mentioned e-rickshaw as well.
Yeah. So e-rickshaw is fine because that is already picking up more than 50%. In fact, when we talk about the L3 segment and all, that is like they are the torch bearers of the EV revolution in our country. Now it's the next wave for the L5 which is now coming up, and also the incentives part is going to help this particular segment to progress. And also now the manufacturers are coming out with different models even in the L5 segment. Earlier those weren't present. So I think as far as the FAME is concerned, it has done its work very well, and almost all the whatever targets were they were achieved. And let us not forget about the world's biggest e-bus tender, which was the most successful, and the prices of around 48 rupees and the 42 rupees, which are almost at par with the diesel powered buses, right? And that is one thing which has actually fueled the total revolution in terms of the public transport of the lower strata. So that has actually lived up to the expectations, and the PME drive, of course, we need to see. But as we have also already heard to some of the panelists in the last discussion, this is already doing its work, and people are quite, enthusiastic about it. But of course, there are certain segments that I talked about has been left out. We might see in some, we might not only electric bicycles, but also, the passenger side, that personal vehicle side has also been left out. But in some of the state policies, it is already being covered. But it's always whatever is covered in the FAME, it's being replicated, so to say, in some of the state policies.
Okay. So, Akshay, what's your take?
Yeah, so good evening. I'll apologize in advance because I'm not known for my diplomatic answers to everything. So I think let's start with FAME. I think the intention was great. Unfortunately, in India, we have some people who always tend to be a little oversmart and take advantages. Having said that, I think there is a lot we can do towards implementation. Starting from there, like all our panelists mentioned, the torchbearers of the revolution have been the L3 unambiguous segment, which adds a lot of value to the bottom of the totem pole kind of people. But it tends to be highly unregulated. A lot of unsafe practices, a lot of practices which, in my opinion, can actually derail the EV story that go on there. So I think government's job and their intention is very clear. They have policies, they have regulations, and that's their job. The rest is for the industry to take it up and to do the right thing. And when I use the word right thing, I'll just take an example of the two-wheeler segment. In the two-wheeler segment, you can see the shift which came from all the kind of players now to the top four. And the only top four who have survived are the traditional players and the players who have technology. I think this needs to percolate down to every level. Otherwise, the EV story will remain with a few, number one. And the policies have to be enforced. And regulations need to be enforced. And they need to be common across the board. What I mean is the safety standard came in. And the last thing I would use the word is policy stability. I think continuous, frequent changes, redoing is not the way to go. Industry always says it needs to invest, and for investment, it needs stability and continuity. So I think that's very important.
Ajay?
Hello. Yeah, thanks, Prashant. I would second what Akshay said. FAME 2 was, my understanding, my feeling, FAME 2 was still more simpler and more aggressive. FAME 3, which is PME drive, the passenger cars have been left out. So we are talking a lot about vehicular pollution, but there is no FAME support on the passenger cars. I think the country had only 13,000 passenger cars registered under cabs. We already have around 6.5 lakh cabs running in the country, which needs to be electrified. Then the outlay is less on two-wheeler and three-wheeler. Third, a few days back, I was reading in the newspaper that whatever was the outlay for this financial year for the two-wheeler, three-wheeler cargo segment and passenger segment has already exhausted. So there is a lot of ambiguity in the policy. The new policy doesn't support certain segments. So I think it is very premature to withdraw or change the FAME the manner it has been changed.
So have those lags have been deteriorated and eradicated from this PM e-drive scheme? I'm saying those challenges have been then overcome so far?
No, the challenge, that's what I'm saying. We are at a very premature stage. Withdrawal will only, slow down the progress. That's my fear.
Hello. Yeah. So I agree with my fellow panelists that FAME has done a very good job in kickstarting the EV industry in India. But as we see, as we go on, what we have realized is India is a price-sensitive community. So once you give the incentives, it kickstarts it, but it's very difficult to maintain it for a very long term, giving the incentives. So my idea is we can do some systematic changes regarding the vehicle pricing. So if I talk about the ownership cost, we have the upfront cost, then we have the insurances, warranties, then resale value. The thing I find is EVs generally have a typically higher price than the ICE counterparts. So what we see is some novel solution by some brands in India where they are decoupling the battery, offering battery as a service as separate to reduce the upfront cost. And when we reduce the upfront cost, your insurance cost also reduces because it's based on the IDV value. Another point to look at is as we see now, the 5-year warranty for batteries is becoming a norm, and some OEMs are also offering 8-year warranty. So we can have some leeway in the insurance premiums, warranty is getting covered or so. And third point I want to emphasize on the resale value. In case of ICE vehicles, we have a very good blue book to get out, after 5 years you will getting this much value. But in terms of EV, it's quite new. People are not sure what the resale value they're going to have. So I think if we address these things like reducing the financing cost like that, so people will be more acceptable to adopting EVs if they get it. So that's a viewpoint I wanted to have.
So we just discussed about FAME 1 also, that it started with FAME 1 only. So it had 4 major focus areas: technological development, demand generation, pilot project, and charging infra components. So in terms of current scenario, what do you think that what should be the one focal area and one focal point rather than 4 points and discussing all these things currently, starting with you?
So, see, of course, certain segments has to be supported. That's how you kickstart. Without charging infra, it's like chicken and egg issue. You have to have the charging infra, then only you say, the long distance travel would be most facilitated. So there are certain aspects. R&D has to be there at its place. It has to be incentivized in parallel. So we are not at that stage wherein we say, okay, let's just facilitate the consumer side or the manufacturing side only or the R&D side. It has to be parallel. But the bucket size is limited, wherein you have to find the right fit, that what is right, whether the 100,000 vehicles are right or that for the two-wheelers 10 lakh vehicles is the right thing. That is what has been done, I think, with the limited chunk which we have. But in the current scheme, allotting 2,000 crores for the charging infra is a very, very good move, because it was 1,000 crores in the last...
Separate allocation is better always.
Yeah. So in the last FAME 2, it was 1,000 crores. Out of that, 200 crore was done through the CESL and the EESL, and 800 crores was given to the oil marketing companies. Of course, it was not the 100% which was given for the number of chargers which they are going to put. 22,000 chargers and 800 crores is actually nothing for that. So from that perspective, this particular 2,000 crore allocation is actually very, very fine. But having said that, whether focusing one or two areas is fine or not, I think my opinion is that you need to focus on certain areas for sure. Electric bus is the one which is focused here also. Commercial one is also which is being focused here. Fire truck and other things are also part. Of course, little money has been given, like 500 crores and all, but at least this much is required for the sensitization of that particular segment. Otherwise, if you keep it totally untouched, which has happened with some of the segments, that it looks like battery swapping, which was the talk, I think 2 years back or 3 years back, even in the budget it was there. And the draft policy also we released, but it has never been finalized, right? We have not seen, battery swapping has not seen the light of the day. The 4 standards are already been written, BIS is already ready, but we have not seen the light of the day. Yeah. And battery swapping is still not, in terms of the incentives, at par with the the regular EVs. So I think there are certain points which has been left untouched. I would even go up to that extent.
That needs to be addressed. Yeah, you.
Okay, so I think let's start with, I think the word should be encouragement. Subsidies, etc., like someone said, are not good enough to base a business model on forever. But initial support is definitely required when you seed something new, right? So from that angle, I think whatever the government has done is very welcome. But I keep using the word encouragement. I think it starts with consumer is king, right? Consumer is going to buy what is convenient, easy, etc. And I think the government should really focus on creating what I call as boundary conditions. To say, this is the safety standard, this is the tax incentive, to encourage that we will do. Maybe even if you own a green vehicle, like California started that in the times of Prius. I remember when I was in the US, you could actually take an income tax write-off on your personal income tax if you bought one of those cars. And I think when we go into the encouragement phase, it's not about subsidies, it's about what the consumer desires and not over-regulate. This over-regulation and red tapeism kills industry. Tesla was Tesla because it succeeded. He put a highway charger network of superchargers, etc., and then put our car out.
Seamless,
right? And I think if you encourage industry without red tapeism, today, I don't know, there are people who put up charging stations just to get permission, to get a line, to get a land. I mean, it's a royal, struggle for people. I mean, everybody should be on the same page. Just finish off over-regulation, put your boundary conditions and tell everyone that you work with industry. When private industry comes in, as I say, the government's role is, to be hands-off from industry, but to create policy and regulations which is not over-regulated. So I think that would encourage. So I think the word should be encouragement rather than demand generation.
Red tapeism is a big speed breaker.
I mean, anyone who's done business in India knows what the red tapeism issue is. And it's so deep-rooted and so painful. for a lot of industries that, it kills innovation. Today, you want to try something new. Afterwards, the government will come in and say, hey, you did it wrong, shut it down. And it's just,
Very honest answer.
Yeah.
So have you
See,
say, please.
the four objectives of the FAME, out of the four, the three has to do with the government, R&D, the public infra, and the charging. If you see from the consumer side, the demand generation was I always felt that demand generation was the very, very key in terms of driving the real adoption of EV. If the consumer doesn't have an incentive to buy the EV, if the cost of owning an EV is 30-40% higher, he doesn't recover the cost of the EV in the entire life cycle of 5 to 6 years, then I strongly feel, there'll be a challenge in terms of EV adoption. As a consumer, we are very, very price sensitive country. Nobody wants to pay 30-40% extra value of the product just to be a green crusader. It's good to talk, but when it comes to spending money, it's a challenge. So our expectation was that in FAME 3, we will get subsidy for the consumer cars also.
But
There is no subsidy at all for the consumer cars. Two-wheeler, three-wheeler also the subsidy has got reduced again.
Yeah, yes,
So
it's gone.
I think that there is a little challenge. So the investment in public transport, the investment in charging, the investment in R&D is a long drawn process. It takes 5 to 7 years to see the real visibility on the ground. Probably more lucrative, demand generation incentive could have triggered the industry in a different direction. That would have helped the OEM invest more in the new product lines. And I think that should have done the industry much more than anything else.
Great. So in lines of getting consumers accepted for the EVs, so there are basically three things we can look at. One is the customer acceptance, one is cost competitiveness, and the charging infrastructure. As we see, customer acceptance is getting more and more as they get more accustomed to, let's say, EV cabs, public transport, like that. Cost competitiveness, we have already talked about how we are providing subsidies and all. But in terms of charging infrastructure, what we feel is, yes, we are pushing it out a lot. We have the PLI schemes pushing it out. But there is a certain kind of misreality between the practicality of the stations. For example, what we see is in areas like this, we have the gated communities and we have chargers there. Yeah. And when a normal person drives on road, he sees in the application, he sees that charger, but he cannot go and charge the vehicle there because the society is there. So in those cases, the utilization of that charger goes down, even the person is not licensed. So virtually it is there, but it is not practically there. So I think we need to look at these issues, that these things are accessible to more people so that they are more confident, I will get it there, so their range anxiety gets down. So I think that part needs to get taken care of.
So Mohit spoke about practicality. So let's have one very practical thing, very practical question. On one side, we have FAME India scheme as per its, what we call in business, budgetary outlay, the allocation part. And on the other hand, we have schemes on ground in terms of their realistic implementation. So do you think a lot needs to be done when it comes to convincing that end consumer who is for some reason or the other is not so willing to buy EV or transition towards EV? What needs to be done? What should be the top priority in terms of government?
So, if you see from the government side, first is, he rightly pointed out that consumer incentive, consumer demand has to be generated.
Price point he mentioned.
Yes, at the right price point. And, when something is new, there's a change in the behavior which has to be pushed off. Plus the technological level at which we are for this new product, we cannot compete with, the who's who of, I'm talking about the China, at what price point they produce. So that's where the incentive comes into play. You may try to, lower the upfront cost, but in terms of the TCO, finally you have to see where the EV stands. Having said that, consumer demand was generated through the FAME schemes, which were the consumer-centric demand generation, demand side. The second was the manufacturing.
As a pillars of
yes.
FAME 1.
Yes, and FAME 2 also, of course. And the PME drive and the EMPS, everything is the consumer incentive. Second comes the manufacturing side, where the auto PLI and the ACC PLI is the one which targets almost 60 to 70% of the parts, right? ACC PLI says that within next 5 years, 60% of the material for the cell manufacturing has to be indigenized. It's a big ask. So minimum of anode or the cathode, at least one of these has to be localized. which is a big ask finally. So the
And has to be implemented on ground.
yeah, exactly. And that's where we are seeing already 16 companies have already announced, and already inbuilt process is around 53 gigawatt hour. Pritesh is not here, otherwise he would have actually validated it also. This is on ground which is happening, right? The cell manufacturing, which is around 30 to 35% of the entire vehicle cost. And currently almost 100% of the lithium-ion battery cells are being imported from one or the two countries per se. So I think from that perspective, manufacturing plus the incentive, that work from the government side has been done. Now it comes to the other side also, the testing, the financial incentives, plus the financing part, wherein not only the industry, so he talked about the buyback, the resale value. The resale value, how the customer will have, the confidence when the OEMs are going to give the, the things like buyback warranty, the unlimited warranty, or 8 years and 160,000 kilometers, which we right now see in almost all the four-wheeler OEMs are giving the warranty. These type of warranties actually help the consumer to decide, okay, this product, yeah. So the buyback, all those things also helps to gain the resale values and all. I think those are the points which needs to be done. The financing is one thing which definitely has to be touched upon. Nothing has been done till now for the recycling and the refurbishing both the sites. And we talk about the raw material, critical minerals. That is also the one area which remains untouched.
Okay, so again, intent versus implementation. I think that's the key question. We want to encourage EVs, but we have a lopsided GST structure. For example, 5% on the EV, but 18% on the battery, for which then we are giving subsidy. It's as per battery kilowatt. So I think it would be simpler if the GST on batteries was to be reduced. And, if there's 5% on the EV, then it should be 5% on the parts supplied for the EV as well. So I think that's one gray area that needs to be addressed and put it out there. And at the end of the day, we talk a lot about demand generation and everything like that. I think for the consumer, it has to be as easy as owning an ICE vehicle. Easier said than done, because ICE technology and the ICE infrastructure has been around for hundreds of years, right? So that's where I said the policy and regulation and encouragement. So let's go for the soft targets. Let's say last mile connectivity has to be this emission. Now, whatever fuel meets that, whichever industry can do, whether it's EV or whatever, does that. Second, let's talk about delivery fleets. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, and maybe he can correct me, 72% of India is two-wheelers, right? A huge amount of that is used now in commercial logistics and food delivery and all of that. These are easy because it makes so much sense for them commercially also, because they're running more kilometers to recover their investment faster. So let's mandate fleet conversion to whatever, EV or an emission target. Say zero emission, okay, that's it, right? And the ownership has to be as easy and as seamless as it is for an ICE vehicle. And whether that means insurance, whether that means finance. Finance, we spoke to a lot of financiers at SMEV as well. And their biggest problem was the reliability of the vehicles that were being produced, because 90% of people were importing their kits from China with, just assembling them and throwing them out in the market. That's not, and still taking false subsidies or whatever. Yeah, this has killed the industry. The financer is not going to finance when he sees a risk in financing it. So we may say we are cost sensitive, we are this, we are that, but cost sensitivity doesn't mean we produce product which is, going to die in 2 years. The financer is not going to finance. So I think it's very clear, simple encouragement, mandating of the low-hanging fruits, especially in cities with population of XYZ. We're seeing what we are breathing today. And lastly, industry needs to produce something as seamless as an ICE vehicle. It's as simple as that.
I again do agree with what Akshay said. few days back we were reading in newspapers about a two-wheeler manufacturer, the kind of mess that they had created. Same, another fleet operator, a few of the fleet operators which bought vehicles 3-4 years back, now the vehicle has run some 1 lakh kilometer. There is a challenge in terms of battery change. If they change the battery at today's cost, the technology is not there. There is not enough support.
These are practical challenges.
The practical challenges. So probably there needs to be a strong regulatory framework around that also, that if the product, this kind of product has a life cycle of 8 to 10 years, then there has to be a clarity on the cost support or how long the OEMs will support these products. Because otherwise a consumer or an operator or a fleet operator buys this kind of a vehicle, and if the vehicle doesn't last the enough period, then the entire business model goes for a toss. That only, that these kind of problems will never promote the industry. When he has an option to, buy a established product line, then why should he invest in a product line which is so risky?
Mohit?
Yes, I believe that the essence of government's investment or funding should be where there should be maximum impact. So we can start with the public transport electrification, going into the government offices, their fleets and all. Then we should move into to charging infrastructure development. As my friend Randhir also mentioned, the manufacturing PLI incentives. So I think that's a very core to us, which will drive the localization part and also generate jobs for us. So it's obviously going to drive down the cost for us, making India self-reliant, also giving the benefit to the people in terms of jobs. So I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So now, since we are running out of time, so now one final take or statement or message you can say. You are live on India's largest and most credible news network, that is Times Network. So any message to government, just one line message. Everyone.
I think they should work on the financing part. Have to make it easier, plus collateral free sort of thing, asset backed.
Finance. Akshay.
Yeah, I think no over-regulation, but enough to create safe, reliable ICE product and maybe rationalization of the GST structures.
No over-regulation. Ajay,
I will be a little biased. I represent the auto retail community. So again, demand generation is something which government should do.
Okay. Mohit, your take?
I believe it will be a proactiveness in creating some roadmaps, as we will also see hydrogen and other fuels coming. So it's very good to create a roadmap in advance so that people know what we are making, some guidelines that can be set up.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the panelists for your valuable insights. I think we had a great discussion on EV, FAME and other subsidiaries and other elements. I am sure by means of this discussion, India will move ahead towards a greener future, brighter future, and seamlessly we will overcome all these speed breakers. Thank you so much. Thank you to the audience as well. Thank you.
A big thank you to all the panelists for sharing their insights on policy and financial incentives that are needed to give the required push to green mobility. And thank you so much, Prashant, for bringing the best out of the panels. Once again, I request Mr. Rohit Chadda to please present our panelists with a small token of appreciation from our side. Thank you once again to all the panelists. Thank you, Mr. Chadda, for doing the honors. Thank you. Before we move on to the final session of this evening, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to extend our gratitude towards our sponsors, our technology partner, Digit.in, our wellness partner, healthandme.com, education partner, Bennett University, West Outdoor partner, Bright Outdoor Media Limited, North Outdoor partner, Heights, and Smart Initiative Influence partner, Radio City. As we continue this enriching journey at the Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024, it's time to dive into the much talked about electric vehicle related session, which is all about the key challenges and the opportunities ahead. Now, electric vehicles or EVs are no longer a vision of distant future. They are here and they are transforming the way we think about transportation. With India's ambitious target to achieve net zero emissions by 2070, EVs are central to this mission. To explore this, we have assembled a distinguished panel of experts to shed light on the many aspects of this topic. So please join me as I invite onto the stage our panelists, starting with Rajiv Chauhan, VP E-Passenger Vehicles, BYD. Thank you, Mr. Chauhan, for joining us. Please keep the applause going as I invite onto the stage Shailesh Hazela, CEO and MD of Stellantis India. And we're very glad to have amongst us Satinder Singh Bajwa, Chief Commercial Officer, JSW NG Motor India. Thank you, Mr. Bajwa, for joining us this evening. And to moderate this session, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the Associate Editor of Times Drive, Ankur Taneja, onto the stage. Ankur, the stage is yours. Looking forward to an exciting conversation.
Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. Now, when we think about EVs, talk about EVs, on one side there are challenges, but on the other side, I also believe that there are immense opportunities that are there in this sector. And इसी विषय पर आज हम बात करेंगे, and that is what the topic for this discussion is, that what are the challenges and the opportunities that are there in this sector. And for that, we have our panelists with us, Mr. Rajiv Chauhan from BYD India, Mr. Shailesh Hazela from Stellantis India, and Mr. Satinder Singh Bajwa from JSW MG Motors India. Thank you, sir, so much for joining us. So let's start with the discussion. And सबसे पहले अगर मैं बात करूं, so challenges से हम शुरुआत करते हैं तो EV adoption को लेकर अगर बात करें, एक हद तक बड़ा है. There are more consumers that are moving towards EV. But do you think that there are still challenges in that area जो consumers electric vehicles की तरफ अभी नहीं आ रहे हैं? तो what do you think are the challenges in that area? You can start with Rajiv.
Okay. Can you hear me all right? Okay.
I think we can.
So, of course, there are challenges. The statistics show that that we are roughly around 2.5% as far as electric passenger cars are concerned. If this has not, happened in last 5 years, I think we are taking this journey and we have reached only till this point. So the challenges are definitely existing. But I think there was a good discussion in the previous two, forums. So there, the biggest challenge which I foresee is that, there are segments. There is segments of commercial vehicles. Then we've spoken about three-wheelers. We've spoken about two-wheelers, and then there are cars. So the adoption rate in all these four segments is lying at different stages. The biggest challenge is the consumers' acceptance. Consumers को जिस दिन benefit समझ में आ गया, that will be the time when this, this adoption rate would really multiply and very, very fast. So three-wheelers is a prime example. I mean, more than 50%, the consumers are getting that benefit, and they have understood how beneficial this is. So the challenge is basically the government is doing its job. India is a diverse country. It's not simple. It's complex. But as soon as we are able to, give that super benefit to the consumer. I think that challenge the whole industry and government has to crack. Only then this adoption in the electric cars can.
We'll come to policy also in the later part of this discussion. Shailesh, you can say your insights on this.
Yeah, in my view, there are three elements when it comes to India on most of the things. The first is it has to make sense to customer about cost of acquisition. Second is range anxiety, which is still not taken out. And earlier panel were talking about having so many chargers but unutilized, etc. So that is still a big issue, not only in India but across all. And third, when it comes to India, we are the country where we don't throw a bucket without utilizing it live. So resale value comes to the real fact. So these are the three elements which we need to work. Bring EV at a cost of ICE so that customer is picking up. Second, range anxiety should not be there in the mind. It has to be similar to the ICE, where government policy, government encouragement, like earlier panelists said, how government can encourage, similar to petrol pump, charging stations across all the India, where range anxiety can be taken care. And obviously resale value, because 8 years, 5 years, what will happen to that battery? There are obviously very good suggestions which are there. We can use battery for energy storage, data center, etc. But it needs to come as a policy, which has to come as an encouragement for the industry to adopt quicker and customer to take that pull rather than push from all the other angles.
Thank you. Stinder, if you can.
Yeah, I think both the panelists have already spoken about it. So, frankly, if you ask me, I say there are 5 big challenges which are actually holding consumers from EV adoption today, especially, and I'm referring to passenger vehicles. So I think first one, as Shailesh mentioned, definitely the price parity between an ICE and electric vehicle is a cause of concern. Second, while range anxiety is there, but let me tell you one thing, range anxiety for a consumer is more in mind. Because if you look at some of the data, 80-85% of the consumers, they charge the electric vehicle at their residence. So while it is there, but I think it's more in the mind, I would say. The third is the worry about the battery. See, in an ICE vehicle, consumer knows if something goes wrong with the engine, something will happen, he will get it repaired, and there is a solution to it. For a battery of a new energy vehicle, which is almost costing almost 40-45% of the total cost of the vehicle, if something goes wrong and if a manufacturer doesn't give him that comfort to consumer, there is a big challenge. Fourth, Shailesh talked about it, but let's understand the fact Indian consumer is very mindful when he's spending money on a four-wheeler. He is very mindful of the resale value. Because in India, we have typically 4 or 5 years life cycle where we change the vehicle after 4 or 5 years. Consumer changes. So obviously the resale value has to be good. Now here the problem is, if you look at the ICE vehicles, the ecosystem of ICE vehicles is well established for the last 30-40 years now. Whereas ecosystem for a EV does not exist today. So there is an anxiety in the mind of a consumer. And of course, if you look at it, the charging infrastructures. While we say the charging infrastructure today exists in the country, but I'm sorry to say, but many of the places, if you see the chargers which are installed, they're not in a condition, they don't even work, right? Most of the places you'll find that you're not even able to identify that if there is a charger put in that particular place. So I think these are 4 or 5 big challenges that I see today towards EV adoption.
Now you're talking about the infrastructure part. So what do you think that in terms of infrastructure that needs to be done to make consumers think about, take EVs more seriously? And because government is also pushing it, manufacturers are also coming up with new products. So what do you think in terms of infrastructure needs to be done, and how do you see that it's going forward in coming 5 years? What changes can we see in this area?
So to me, I think one of the area which is a cause of concern, especially in super metros and metros, and these are the places where EV adoption is actually happening much faster, is the challenge where these residential societies and all are not permitting very easily the fitment of chargers. And as I said, 80-85% of people are comfortable charging their EVs at their residence. So I think there has to be some kind of, push there where customer sees this comfort. And as I think one of the earlier panel members also mentioned that where you're going for your work, if you are able to install chargers, public locations, if you are able to install chargers, that will really be helpful going forward. And I think I must commend that some of the new initiatives the government is putting in place. And I was really surprised some of the new highways that are coming up now. At every 30-40 kilometers, there is a charging infrastructure which is coming up. So I don't think going forward next 4 or 5 years, charging infrastructure is going to be that big a problem. There are two reasons. One, you will have technology, you will have vehicles which will have much better range going forward. So there's a lot happening on the battery technology. Second, second is in terms of, public partnership. A lot of people are coming forward to install charging infrastructure as well. And government is also taking a lot of initiative. Manufacturers are taking a lot of initiatives in terms of putting up these charging infrastructures. So to me, I don't think charging infrastructure 5 years down the line, what we are talking, would be a problem. It would be a much simpler thing what we see today in CNG situation. Because the range of future vehicles even today is going to be good. I think one thing which I would like to mention, and somebody talked about, as manufacturers also, we have a bigger responsibility of delivering quality products to the consumer. Because somewhere the consumer also has lost confidence on the electric vehicle. And that's where it's slowing down a little bit of adoption also, because we talk of X amount of range and you get 50% of it. Then there are safety concerns with two-wheelers, especially today. I think these all things we have to get over these things over a period of time to build that confidence in a consumer.
Rajiv, your take on that?
Yeah, just on the charging infrastructure, I think there's a couple of things, we discuss internally, I'm sure. But what has happened over last, I would say, couple of years is that most of the electric cars which are coming in, they are on the higher side now. Earlier there used to be 35 kilowatt hour battery, 40 kilowatt hour battery, but now we have cars 60, 70, 80, 90 kilowatt. So, the one thing which I find should be done a little bit quickly is the high capacity chargers in metro are required, because otherwise these cars are going to take too much time. That is one quick point. And what we've struggled, few have tried to crack it, and perhaps they are on their way to the number of charge point operators. There are so many of them, and to have this charger you need to have this application, to have this charger. So this is the easy part, I would say, compared to the investment which is required in setting up the land, taking care of the policy, and then installing and then using. If we can have a combination, if we can have one single platform to get it operated. In few other countries, they are doing it perfectly. So these are the two quick things. The car's battery capacity is increasing, so we need a little. We have, in my place where I stay, there are 10 chargers. 8 of them are AC chargers, and I struggle sometimes. So that density has to increase, and charge point operators, if
the number of fast chargers needs to be increased.
Number of fast chargers in metro stations, the volume or the number of cars in metro cities, high battery capacity cars are increasing. So these are the two quick things.
Shailesh, your take on that?
Yeah, I think in addition to infrastructure generally when world comes, we all see buildings and something which is getting built. To me, there are two important elements which need to be built. The one is technological infrastructure. Power density ratio has to go up so that weight of the battery come down. and it is more cost-effective material which is to be used with value chain which is more and more. We talked about earlier panel, talked about battery. Everybody is importing the cell. We don't have lithium, we don't have nickel, we don't have cobalt. How do we integrate all that into a solution which becomes totally indigenous rather than assembling? We don't want to reduce cost just by assembling and getting the duty. So that's the first. Second important thing, maintenance. If you see today ICE vehicle, if it gets issues anywhere, you have people who can fix across India. Every nook and corner, every road, what happens to EV? When are we going to look at that skill building which is required in unskilled India? These are the important things which also need to come apart from physical infrastructure which is charging. Then only we will be self-sufficient and adoption will automatically increase because people will start seeing employment generation, people will start seeing opportunity.
Now, when we talk about infrastructure development, there has to be a good policy behind it. So policy-wise, if we talk about what do you think that needs to be changed or what do you think is working out in the current scenario? So your take on both the questions. I mean,
basically a quick point, and it was a great point made by in the earlier conversation. You put us third, and all the discussion and all the points came in number one and number two discussions. So the point which I pick up and I reiterate, the utilization of public chargers is at a dismal level, 2%, 3%, maybe 5% in some places. So, as Mr. Bacho also said, it's not about the density; it's about the right usage and bringing people there. Many of these chargers are not working. Okay, answer to your question that what can be done, besides this, is that to really run a charger, to set up a charger is a very, very tedious task in India. So the regulations around setting up the charging business is pretty complex. The chargers are not very, very complex in terms of technology. These are available, this technology is available in India. But to set up that is something which is really a task. So the regulations, if they can be simplified, that would do the job for the short term.
Shailesh, policy-wise, if you can.
I think policy-wise, we need to look at it what works for consumer. It can't be built what works for something else. It has to be consumer-oriented. And like Minister said, Honorable Minister, that waste has to be converted into opportunity. That's where it needs to be looked at every element. How do we build infrastructure? How do we build charging stations? How do we create opportunity? If I have a street, there are 2 houses which have charging station. If cars are parked in the street in the night, 2 houses can give and earn money. That is what needs to be seen, because when people will start making money out of it, people will adopt this very quickly, very easy, and this is what is needed in terms of policy. The way petrol pump has been forced, allocated, run, now it is managed very well. Why can't we have charging stations also in the similar lines?
Stender, your...
I think policy-wise, definitely you require policies which are consumer-friendly at the end of the day, and at the same time, manufacturers also. I think somebody mentioned some time back, the previous panel. See, auto industry today is in a flux, if you ask me very frankly. And it is not the auto industry, it is the component manufacturers. Other people also are in the flux, because for next 5 years, this situation is going to remain like this. Only after that, things will stabilize that which direction are we really headed. And to me, the right balance of technologies should coexist. That's very critical, very important. So, new energy vehicles, whether you talk about your ICE vehicles, a right balance has to coexist over a period of time, right? But yes, all these technologies must meet the environment norms that we set for themselves. Second thing is, if you look at globally, EV adoption has not happened in a very natural way. There has been push by the country, government, various governments, whether way of incentives to the consumers, largely to the consumers. Only then it has moved that direction. I think in India, since there is a, right now also there is a price parity between a ICE and a electric vehicle, and consumer does feel that difference in the price parity, I believe the state governments must come forward and be consistent, most importantly, in the policies. I think one of the dealer partners here who was representing FADA also spoke about it. I think the state governments need to give incentives for some time to ease the EV adoption, whether it is in the form of waiver of registration or road tax, because currently the adoption is if you look at penetration, it is 2.5%, not more than that. So even if it goes 5% is not going to make that bigger difference on the state exchequer. But I think that will help the environment in a much bigger way. But what is needed is a consistency in the policy. So you decide a policy, it should not so happen that I'm giving you for next 3 months, after that it is finished. So 3 months you sell, after that 6 months you sleep after that, which is not correct. So I think there has to be consistency in the policies that the government gives. And consumer at the end of the day has to be kept in mind, more than the manufacturers.
अब इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल्स की बात होती है तो रिसाइकलिंग को लेके भी एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज सामने है कि बैटरी में जो कंपोनेंट्स यूज होते हैं उनका रिसाइकलिंग किस तरह से होने वाला है, क्या उसका प्रोसेस होने वाला है, एंड जब वो एक बहुत बड़े स्केल पर होगा तो वो कैसे मैनेज होगा, तो वो भी एक चैलेंज है. अभी आपको लगता है कि इस टाइम पे कि उसको एड्रेस करा जा रहा है या उसको और ज़्यादा सीरियसली लेना चाहिए इससे पहले कि वो एक बड़े स्केल पर पहुंच जाए? सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक यू एज अ मैन्युफैक्चरर इंडिविजुअली आर टेकिंग इनिशिएटिव in this direction?
So globally, circular economy is going to stay, and that will create an opportunity for many of us in India. This is not very known, but this has to be there if we are talking about battery, EV vehicles, because that is going to play an important part in your resale value and your continuity of the price sustainability in a long term. So answer is very simple: circular economy for everything till the time we get to the last ounce of metal out of it or energy out of it, I would say.
Rajiv, you can share
Sure.
insights.
Already, I think there is government is cognizant of that, and they have some basic framework already available that how should this proceed. And in last 5 years, quite a few companies have come up, sprung up, because they realize this is their business opportunity as well. So, and let's understand this also, that, you know, first cycle of 7-8 years of ownership has not been completed. I mean, it would be maybe less than 20,000 cars, which would have done 5-7 years that we typically speak for a electric car, battery to really. So there are companies which are which exist in India, and there is a basic policy framed already by the government. I think it's a matter of time that this is.
Do you think that the right steps are being taken in that direction?
They are in place, and many private players have already come up and they are taking up this challenge. Yeah. So it's on the right direction.
Standar, if you can share.
So there are players who are getting into, as Rajiv said. I just want to mention two things, and I think Rajiv mentioned about one thing earlier, and before I come to this point. You know, you spoke about, Rajiv, you talked about, you know, getting all these guys who are providing the charging infrastructure on one platform. And I'm very happy to share with you that at JSW MG Motor India, we have an e-hub. We've created an e-hub, and we did launch it 3 months back, where we have now onboarded almost 85% of providers of electric charging on that single platform. So a consumer can download eHub, and simply he can do his work, whatever he wants in terms of finding a right charger near his location on that application. Number one. Number two, I think a lot of work has to be done now. Coming back to your point, has to be done on creating an ecosystem for the reusability of these batteries. Because one, I think we have to look at how we can bring in a technology where the cells can be changed and you can extend the life of these batteries which are being used in the car. And after that, how you can give a second, third life to these batteries, a usage. Now, for example, I just want to quote one example that there is one startup which is working with us right now. And we have started the battery packs which we are taking out. We have started giving it to some of the places which need them right now. For example, in Uttarakhand, there are some of the schools where we are providing electricity through these refurbished battery packs. So I think this is an area which still needs to be developed, but it's very important that ecosystem gets developed, because only then you will really see the benefit of EV adoption.
So my next question is, can India position itself as a EV manufacturer hub, like we talk about China, how they are producing EVs, and also in terms of technology? How are we moving forward, and what do you think that, are we going towards the right path in terms of developing new technology, developing new infrastructure in terms of making this an EV hub? Rajiv, you can start.
Of course, we have to be positive, and see, for a large scale adoption, you need scale, right? And the topic of this discussion is about opportunities. So what I'm positive that we are ending at around 4 million this year, the car sales. Just imagine, by some forecast, if this grows to around, let's say, 7-8 millions, and we touch a value of a percentage of around 20 to 25% adoption, so that translates into 1 to 1.5 million cars, electric cars. So that is giving us the scale. So as far as I see next 5 years, scale is there, and with scale, definitely you will be able to invite investments. The partners who are ready to invest come in and make these technology locally available. So I believe it's a slow process. I'm sure any technology adoption. So we are at that typical curve of, let's say, the early adopters are there, innovators are there, but then there is a chasm which needs to be crossed, right? So early majority will happen. It's a slow process, but the government, the industry, OEM players, and the consumer, as soon as they all three meet, line up, I think it's there. 5 years, my prediction is 5 years, we are heading towards that scale, and then it should be a large economy for us, EV cars.
Shailesh, quick thoughts on that.
Yeah, why not, provided we have technology and cell. These are the only two. All other component supplier have got all technology, whether it is e-motors or AC-DC charging or cables, etc. We have everything, because we have not reached to the right level of technology in terms of battery, hence technology and cell.
Stender, quick take on that.
So to me, I think I'm optimistic. It should happen over a period of time. So I'll simply give an analogy. If India can manufacture iPhones and supply to entire world, why can't we manufacture EVs and supply to the whole world? So we have, India has some of the best brains, right? Everybody's looking up to India. So I have no doubt in my mind that the India shining story will continue. It's just a matter of time, and as Rajiv said, it is just a matter of EV picking up that, going into the takeoff stage. People will invest and technologies will come. I don't think that is a challenge.
I think we're running out of time. Thank you all so much for joining us at Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Lots of challenges highlighted out there that we all need to overcome to make EV adoption more widespread. Thank you for bringing the best out of this panel, Ankur, and a big thank you to all the panelists for sparing their time out of their schedule and being with us and adding immense value to this session and this evening. Mr. Rohit Chadha requested to kindly be on stage and present a small token of appreciation to our panelists. Thank you, Mr. Chadha, for doing the honors. Ladies and gentlemen, up next it's time for us to honor the innovators, the trailblazers, and the visionaries in this space. But before that, a request to all our guests who are still outside the hall to please join us back as we're about to get started with the rest of the awards ceremony. But before we move on, a quick word of thank you for our partners, technology partner Digit.in, wellness partner healthinme.com, education partner Bennett University, West Outdoor partner Bright Outdoor Media Limited, North Outdoor partner Heights, and Smart Initiative influencer partner Radio City. And as we quickly set the stage up for the felicitation ceremony that's coming next, let's just have a show of hands with the audience. How many of you have already gone the EV way? You're already using an EV vehicle? I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, or are planning that the next vehicle will be an EV? Can we have a show of hands? Currently have an EV or plan that the next vehicle will be an EV? Not bad, that's almost 35-40%. All right, if I could ask the audience, which is the biggest challenge do you think towards widespread adoption of EV according to you? Is it the cost, or is it the awareness, or is it the lack of infrastructure? You can just call out what you think is the right answer, according to you. Mindset. Awareness, mindset? Mr. Chadha, according to you? Anxiety. Range anxiety. All right. Anyone else? Costs. Sorry? All right, I see the stage is set. Thank you for your responses, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to proceed now for the much-awaited segment. Mr. Rohit Chadha, once again requested to please join me to present the awards at the Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the segment where we recognize outstanding contributors that have accelerated India's journey towards a sustainable and more eco-friendly future. Please keep your applause generous, as this is the segment where we celebrate excellence, starting with the category of Green Initiative towards Sustainable Mobility, and this goes out to Citron. Many congratulations, Citron, for backing Green Initiative towards Sustainable Mobility. All right, moving on to a big one, which is the EV Car of the Year. Let's see who bags this award, and it's backed by MG Windsor. Many congratulations to the MG team for winning the EV Car of the Year for MG Windsor. congratulations to a team. That's a big win. Moving on to the EV Sedan of the Year. And the next category is EV Sedan of the Year. And the winner is BYD Seal. Many congratulations, BYD, for bagging the EV Sedan of the Year. Up next, we have the Luxury EV Sedan of the Year category. And the Luxury EV Sedan of the Year goes to BMW i5 M60. That's BMW bagging the Luxury EV Sedan of the Year. Moving forward to Compact EV of the Year, and the winner is Tata Punch. Congratulations, Tata Punch, for bagging Compact EV of the Year. And up next is Best Design EV Two-Wheeler, and this one goes out to Oben Roar EZ. Moving ahead, we have the EV Bike of the Year, and this one goes out to Ultraviolet F77 Mach 2. Up next, we have the category of Best User Experience in EV. And the winner of Best User Experience in an EV is Mercedes EQA. Many congratulations, Mercedes. And up next, it's time to applaud for EV Manufacturer of the Year, and this one goes out to Tata Passenger Electric Mobility. That's the second win for Tata in the evening. Many congratulations, Tata. Our next category is Best Alternative Fuel Car of the Year, and this one's backed by Maruti Swift CNG. Many congratulations, Maruti, for backing the best alternative fuel card of the year. And moving on to best battery technology, the winner in the category is BYD. And now let's see who bags the luxury 6-seater SUV of the year. And the winner is Kia EV9. Many congratulations, Kia, for bagging luxury 6-seater SUV of the year. And now the last award in this set of awards is for Best Electric Commercial Vehicle, and this one goes out to Euler. Do we have someone from Euler to take this? Mr. Chadda, I'm afraid not. We'll make sure this reaches them. Many congratulations to all the winners of this set. Thank you so much, Mr. Chadda, for doing the honors. Taking the ceremony forward, we would now like to request the editor of Times Drive, Ashish Masih, to please join me on stage. Ashish, exciting categories of content creators coming up now. We are starting with upcoming auto creator, and the winner is Arsh Jolly. Many congratulations, Arsh. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we definitely need to rev up our engines, show some more energy, better applause. Thank you. Up next, we have popular auto creator in North, and this one's backed by All Hands Together for Dayakaran Singh Dhaliwal. Many congratulations to you. Moving ahead, we have the category of fastest growing YouTuber. Many congratulations, MD Danish. Do we have MD Danish here with us? I'm afraid not. We'll make sure this reaches him. Moving ahead to People Choice Award for Travel and Auto, and it's backed by Vikash Dayal. Many congratulations, Vikash. Our next category is Family Drive Content Creator, and the winner is Gagan Modi. Do we have Gagan Modi here? I'm afraid not. We'll quickly move on to the next category, which is In-Depth Motorcycle Content Creator. And this one's been won by Harish Solanki. Do we have Harish here? All right, now we're moving on to the next category, which is long-form auto content creator. Many congratulations, Vishal Ahlawat, for bagging that. And we have Vishal right there. Many congratulations to you, Vishal. Moving ahead, please put your hands together as we announce the winner of Female Travel Creator on 2 Wheels. Many congratulations, Nupur Kalra. Do we have Nupur here with us? I'm afraid not. We're quickly moving on to the next one, which is Driving Tips and Tricks Creator. And this goes to Tushar Bhalla. And there we have Tushar with us. And up next, we have the category of Superbike Speed Creator, and this goes out to Atharva. Do we have Atharva here with us? I'm afraid not. We'll make sure this reaches Atharva. And finally, the last category is Best Alternative Fuel Two-Wheeler of the Year, and this goes out to Bajaj Freedom CNG. Thank you, Ashish, for doing the honors. I request you to kindly take your seats. Can I have a huge round of applause for all the winners of the awards at Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to present a small token of appreciation and express our gratitude towards our sponsors. I request Mr. Rohit Chadda to please join me once again onto the stage. We would like to present a token of appreciation to West Out, a partner, Bright Outdoor Limited. West Outdoor partner, can we have the representative on stage, please? Up next, it's time for us to recognize our second North Outdoor partner, Heights. And we have Kefi Bharti, founder and CEO of Heights Group here to be here with us and accept the felicitation. And finally, it's time to felicitate our Smart Initiative Influencer partner, Radio City. Thank you once once again to all our partners for helping us make this event a success. Thank you so much, Mr. Chadda, for doing the honors once again. What an incredible evening, ladies and gentlemen. This has been from insightful discussions to the celebration of excellence and innovation. The Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards have truly been a testament to the progress and promise of India's automotive sector. As we now near the end of this remarkable event, it is time to hear the closing note from someone whose vision and leadership has been instrumental in making this initiative a success. Please join me as I welcome onto the stage Nishant Mogia, Head of Business Strategy, Times Drive, to deliver the closing address for this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we bring this insightful evening to a close, we reflect on what we truly be called a Green Revolution 2.0, a nation marching towards cleaner, greener mobility that prioritizes not just our immediate environment and growth, but also well-being of future generations. It has been an absolute honor to host Honorable Union Minister Nitin Gadkari ji this evening, and I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of you for your invaluable participation. The panel discussions illuminated some of the pressing challenges faced by the industry, and I'm very confident that with continued efforts and even stronger focus, the government, along with all stakeholders, will drive India forward in its mission for clean mobility. Let us acknowledge that this journey has just begun. While many nations have set the pace in the clean mobility race, India has all the potential to catch up and surpass all. When the industry, government, the media unite, building a powerful narrative, all I can say is green mobility is achieved. There is no limit to what we can achieve. With collaboration and determination, I'm optimistic that within the next 3 to 5 years, India will set new global benchmarks in clean mobility. On this inspiring note, I invite you all to join us for cocktails and dinner. Stay connected with us through our timesdrive.in website and YouTube channels, Times Drive and Times Drive Green. Your engagement fuels this movement. We look forward to continuing the conversation. Thank you once again for being a part of this evening.
Thank you, Nishant, for delivering those closing remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, it's time to draw curtains on the inaugural edition of Times Drive Green Conclave and Awards 2024. Let's make sure that the insights that we learned today, we carry them forward and together work for a greener future. Thank you so much for joining us. Wish you a very good the rest of the evening.